We're now joined by Rabbi Amichai Cohen. He's the founder and director of livekabbalah.com, and he joins us from Safad in northern Israel. Thank you very much for being with us.
Hey, how are you?
You were there last year, I understand. Are you anxious towards tonight's celebrations at Mount Meron?
Yes, I was there last year. I was in the vicinity. It was a surreal time, surreal moment. Definitely been a year of working through some traumas that were related to that, and a year of definite growth for myself. And I definitely have a lot of thoughts about this year in particular, having been there last year.
So tell us about tonight. How are you preparing personally, and you and your community, how are you preparing for tonight?
So the day of Lag BaOmer is a very auspicious day. It's one of the most auspicious days on the calendar, and it's connected to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and his greatness, really, that he brought to the world, which is really an agenda, so to speak, of bringing light to the world, and that's the whole secret of Kabbalah, is really doing that. And whenever we're faced with trials and tribulations such as this, and seeing situations, again, like last year, being involved in that, brings to light a lot of issues that we have with faith. We could say, how do we get past that? And having and connecting to the deeper level of faith is realizing that the day itself is an auspicious day, and we don't always understand why things happen in the world, but we do know that we've got to be joyous, that we've got to be happy, that we've got to connect, we've got to be positive, and we've got to bring that light that essentially Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai really brought to the world. That's our job to do, not to live in fear and paranoia and anxiety ridden and whatnot. It's about the light and spending the good, seeing the good in others, and trying to see how we could correct things, on all levels.
And let's talk about the practicalities. Some differences have arisen between the police and some rabbis who called on their followers not to respect the police or any limitations on attendance. How do you explain that? A year after a disaster, some rabbis react that way.
That's ridiculous. That absolutely is. But like in all sectors, you have extremists, and it's our job to really go ahead and to set the right example, to set that right tone. So we are in line, so that we do follow protocols, and that we do have a merging of really the way we're supposed to really celebrate it on all levels, on the safe level, on the spiritual level. Absolutely.
And again, I'm again trying to think about you and your community going to the event tonight. Have you guided them in any specific way? What to do in case something happens? Where to agglomerate? What to avoid? What to pay attention to?
Right. Well, it's definitely going to be different than in the previous years. In the previous years, it was an absolute, half, 200,000 people, in all together. So it was not so orderly. We could say this year is going to be very, very different. So it's not really going to be an issue of any safety, I would say, but more so guiding on the level of, this year, looking at the obstacle of faith that we need to resolve ourselves with how we could strengthen our faith, which is emunah, and go forward and realize that, that this year we're optimistic and going to this event in a safe way, and really connecting not just for ourselves but for the whole world, and realizing that we're connecting and making that occasion possible and that joy possible, not just for ourselves but for the collective good of the world that really, really needs illumination.
And we're seeing images there from past celebrations at Meron. It looks like one big rave. I've never been, but
you've never been, yeah.
It looks like a hell of a party. So I wish you a very good celebration tonight. What is one thing that you will be praying for tonight?
So yeah, I'm going to be praying for healing in the world, healing for all of us. There's so much of that we need. We need so much healing.
We do.
In the Ukraine and in our own personal lives and the way that we communicate with each other. It should just be, our hearts should be more open to one another.
Definitely. Rabbi Amichai Cohen, thank you very much for joining us today.
My pleasure.